Hey, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuits, and I'm one half of the creative team that started DungeonSwag.com. What I have here is a 15-ounce ricotta cheese container from some lasagna past made, and we're going to turn this into a turret for a sci-fi fantasy TTRPG. And I'm kind of running a sci-fi campaign right now, so it's like a Star Wars kind of based deal. Running it on the Tomorrow Comes Doom and Space system. So the first thing we have to do is, this thing is not made to take paint. It is not paint's friend, so we're going to hit this with a little bit of a sanding block just to make sure it's going to take paint. It's already been washed with soap and water. That's important. Don't just like use it right after you've emptied it. Clean it. So, I didn't really have an idea for a craft yesterday or today, but I try to do something every day. I was going to work on some miniatures, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do a video. So, I'm thinking we could definitely put that on there. That's from a Pepsi that somebody drank at D&D on Saturday. Or, I shouldn't say D&D, we don't even play D&D anymore. We play other role-playing games. Mostly ones that I, made because I didn't like a lot of the problems with D&D. I don't like how many hit points there are. I don't like levels or classes. I like characters to be able to build whatever they want. So if you look at like how 3.5 is designed, and you take away feats and classes and levels, or not take away feats, if you take away classes and levels, and you just have the ability to buy skill points, buy ability points, buy feats, and make your character the way you want, that's how we play. There are some things that do require some prerequisites and stuff, but the Tomorrow Comes Doom system is pretty much made to where everything you need to level up is really on the character sheets and stuff. And maybe, and there's a lot of talk about maybe releasing it so that other people can play it too, because everyone that's, we're playtesting the space version, but everybody that played the original Modern Survival seemed to like it a good bit. So we'll see. Maybe I will. I don't know. If people had an interest in it or even knew it existed, it would be different. But since it's just like maybe 50 people to 75 people even know it exists, I don't foresee there being a need to publish anything for it until, if people are like, hey, we really want that, I might think about it. Plus, it takes a lot of time to like work on the books and stuff, and it's just not particularly easy. So I'm making a turret, and one of the things I want to be able to do is have a quad cannon, and I'm not really sure what my plan is for that yet. So I think what we're going to do is see if we can even fit a quad cannon on here first. You know what? With the right little fitting of some sort, I think we could. So I'm going to take two of these. I'm just going to dab them together with glue and level them out a little bit so they stick together. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. It's pretty small. So I'm just going to put these together like this and let it cool. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to get these two and do the same thing. Whoops. These little spider webs from the hot glue. So these stirring sticks, like coffee stirrers, I think these ones were, I don't even know where they're from, maybe the Dollar Tree or somewhere. But it had like 200 of them for like dirt cheap, so I bought them years ago and still have never used them all. Alright, so we're going to get the wispies, put a little more glue here, and then we're going to attach these to these. And that is going to be our design for our quad cannon right there. We're going to roll off some of this excess glue. Then we're going to have to wrap that in something. And this is a little thick, so find something thinner. Here we go. This will work nice. Oh, got a wispy in my eye. So what we want to do is put a little dib in the corner. Get that position to let that cool. Now when we fold the next side, we're just gonna do a little bit more hot glue. There we go. Now, I told you I don't measure very often, except when I'm doing like kind of modern stuff or I'm trying to make something really schmance. So this is all just fitting it together to see what it'll do. So when that sets, we're going to snip off this little bit here. And then see how this doesn't really quite meet up? That's alright, we don't really care. We'll put that on the bottom of it. Alright, so that's going to work for a generic quad cannon. And we're going to put that on here. Now you could be really fancy if you had such an interest and make this a cannon that turret that rotates, and it really wouldn't be that hard. But I mean, the truth is, I'm going to make this on the table, and if I need it oriented a certain way for combat, I will just turn the whole thing. There's no base here. I had thought about basing it, and I do a lot of this stuff on old DVDs, CDs, and video games like CD-ROMs, but because I do have an excess of that kind of stuff because I used to be kind of a collector of that stuff. But all right, so since we already cut this card up, let's take some parts of this card and add some interest. That card's pretty shiny. I don't know how well that's going to take paint. Really well, I promise now. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start adding. With no plan or purpose, we're just going to add and make little features and try to make it look nice. Man, I am not a good hot gluer. I don't think that adds a whole lot of 3D texture, so let's get some serious stuff here. And I'm not measuring to see if these are the same, I'm just eyeballing it. Oh, I messed up bad there. Alright, let's cut off a flat spot and try again. Being the genius that I am, it just occurred to me I can use this flat edge here. Like I always do. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. But I can use this flat edge here to make sure these are pretty straight cuts. So I'm making this a fat one. And my intent is to make a couple panels. Oh, that was a pretty good guess. And then we did this on the building we did. And it came out nice in the end. I don't know if anybody saw that building or if you watched that. But I did like a sci-fi building, and it took me not that long to do. I spent more time trying to make it into a video than I did actually doing it. And it turned out pretty good. I mean, all these buildings always kind of do. I very seldom do I have to toss something like this. You know, it's going to get tossed in the end or given away, but lately I've been kind of wondering if maybe I should keep some of this stuff. Storage is always the problem, I suppose. Alright, so we're going to just line it up with that bottom there. Press it down. It's a little crooked. It's alright. Nobody's dying. Be alright. If people were coming out and measuring your stuff and seeing if it's plumb and level, and they're getting out their laser level app on their phone to check, it's time to get a new group. Alright, that's pretty good. Alright. It looking kind of sci-fi-y already. That's a technical term. Sci-fi-y. So, whenever you want to come around on like something that has an angle up like this, instead of being like, this is obviously like would ultimately become a cone. This does not, these are not parallel. Putting something on here like this, the longer it is, the harder it gets, unless you actually kind of angle it out a little bit and leave a little gap on the top. So what I do for that kind of stuff is I try to make really small panels in that direction, so that it's like, you can just kind of hide it with the design of what you're doing, instead of trying to make it all flush and nice. Because again, the goal is not to spend 10 hours making each building. The goal is to have a bunch of cool scatter you can throw down in a heartbeat and just be done with it, So we're going to need a door, so let's get some stuff and make a door. Yesterday we made a pretty lame door. I think today we're going to go a little bit bigger on our door. So we are going to do something else. So, you know how tall a miniature is. Okay, here's a generic dual-wielding Jedi person. We know that it needs to be at least tall enough that they can walk under it, plus a little space in case taller people are coming, a Wookiee or whatever. We're not actually going to have a door here. That's way big. Let's try it again. Nice. I'm going to cut that off so it's a little more. Alright. So we got a dude here. It's taller than the dude. Alright, good. If it's a little bit big, that's fine, because they're in space, man. And who knows how big some of the aliens they might want to come into this turret are. They might have some giant aliens. They're like, dude, we got to get this giant dude in here. And we'll just, what are you going to do? Tell them no, you're too big, you can't come in? This is, I don't know, my grandma used to always have this stuff, and she would make, like, with, like, yarn, she would make Christmas ornaments and crap with it. I think I heard someone call it granny grid. I don't know if that's a socially acceptable term for this. I'm pretty sure that's elderly abuse in some form. I don't know. Again, I'm eyeballing stuff. I am not enormous into... Alright, that's good. So we're going to hook that to that. Now, here's the deal with this. You don't really want to super glue these, because what will happen is... Or hot glue these, because what will happen is the hot glue will stick through there. But since we're going to cover the top and the bottom and the sides, we're okay to do like a little bit. So, the thinnest lines ever, right? So we're going to do the top. And we're going to try to make sure that none of the stuff is sticking out, because we're going to put a ledge around here, right? And then we're going to do a little bit on the bottom. Again, you want to make sure none of the stuff's sticking out so it won't interfere with the cover we're about to build for that. See how your scissors have like the cuts? Line that up so that goes flush and you don't need to see what you're doing. And then it's going to be perfect every time. I'm left-handed, so this works out well for me. I don't know how hard that would be for a righty. But you righties have held an imperial on us, or empire on us, for every product made for the past bazillion years, so I don't feel too bad for y'all. Alright, so this is a little thick for what we want. We're just going to cut this down. We're going to glue and make the outer frame of the door or whatever. Now, I make vents and stuff with this stuff, usually. I don't usually do doors with it, but... And I know, I've seen, like, videos, like, don't think I'm, like, thinking I've invented everything, because I know I haven't. Like, other crafters use all these same techniques. A lot of them pretend they invented it, but I mean, this is stuff like cardboard. Dude, people that are like, I invented cardboard D&D. Dude, we've been doing that since the 80s. Don't even try it, man. We've been making terrain out of cardboard and anything we can find, garbage, since the 80s. You are not the inventor of it. Stop. I watch these channels. I discovered a new way. No, you didn't discover anything. You just happen to find a way that we've already been doing it. You're not like the beginner. You didn't start anything, dude. And don't get mad at me. I know some of you guys are like, oh, I love D&D channel this and that. Yeah, I know you do, but they didn't invent anything. Even though I don't have any sponsors or anything, and I probably never will, because I don't know if I'm really even into that, or making, feeling like I have to make a video, because I just want to do it for fun. I will say that the Pilot G2 is my favorite pen. I use them for work. I use them for home. I draw with them. I do everything with them. If I could use it as a pick to play guitar, I would. Love those things, man. So good. Alright, we get the end here. Draw a little line. Cut it off. Oh, I somehow did bad. Snip a little more off. Ta-da! We did it! After I do this video, I think I'm going to go set up a tray to print minis, because I feel like painting a lot, and I printed those, and then I looked at them, I'm like, I don't really want to do those. I have a bunch of HeroClix I can mod out, though. I like doing that. That's fun as hell. Alright, so this is done. This is going to be like a door or whatever, and you just like everything else. Now, you don't want to always put everything directly on the back, so it's like perfectly square or centered. So I'm going to do this door a little bit off. And then if you look, even though I curved that, there's a little bit sticking up. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut some pieces and glue them in there, and then just snip them off so the door has some depth, and it looks like, maybe like a 3D feature. And then right here, we're going to need to kind of close these off because they popped up a little bit from the hot glue. And that's fine. It's whatever. And if there's a little bit of smidge of glue on there, just pull it off the best you can. Again, anybody who didn't spend hours in their basement building terrain for the campaign can shut up. Only the people that spent hours in the basement making terrain get to bitch about the terrain. It's an official Doom rule. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some bead of glue here. Right? Can you see that? So we put glue on the edge there, and then we're just going to push that against it the best we can, and then let that kind of sit for a second. Alright, because we're going to cut that off. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, and all we're doing is hiding the edges of these doors that are so terribly done. And that's okay, because it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that side looks like it's pretty dry and solid. We're going to come over here with our scissors, find the right so that you're getting the super lefty cut. Snip that off. Looks alright. Same thing over here. Snip that off. Covers up those sides pretty good. And then we have these little excess pieces up here. Let's saw those off real quick with that. Alright, so Looks like we could do some more detail here and make it look a little more futuristic-y, sci-fi. Is that the technical term we determined earlier? So let's see what we got. Buttons over here. These are from maybe the dollar store or Walmart or somewhere that sells buttons. At a button store near you. So let's look at kind of buttons we have. Alright, so these are all kind of boring. Oh, this one has like a little raised 3D area. We'll throw that up here. We're just going to put a little dab of glue. Get that centered the best we can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Perfection is not a prerequisite for fun. Now, since this is concave, we're going to just put a little bit extra glue there is what's going to happen. And then some of it's going to pop out the top, unfortunately. But that's, neither here nor there. And I threw a button on the ground. Oh, got it quick. Alright. Maybe these buttons look identical. We'll use these for something on the side here. That'll be nice. That'll be beautiful. And we will get those on. Alright, so it doesn't have an enormous amount of detail, but it definitely has something going on. Let's get a little fancy. I got an idea real quick we can do. Alright, so let's get this bendy straw. Bend it a little bit. And let's put that on there in such a way that it represents... Oh, that went on the floor. Darn me. Let's get these buttons put up. I like to clean as I go the best I can. The cardboard and stuff I can get at the end, but any stuff I take out, I try to not leave laying out. Alright, so that's going to come in to about right there. So we're going to put a dab of glue, and then we're going to center that on there and wiggle it around and try to make it like a fitting around it. And it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. We don't need perfect. We just need functional. So let it... It's pretty solid. Now we want that to sit along this edge here. So we're going to just kind of snip that. Get that on there. And then we're going to push this over. Get a little dab of glue there. Set it down in there. And now it looks like there's some kind of maybe an energy tube. And you see that sticks up a little bit and it's not perfect. That's okay, man. Or woman or whoever is watching. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's all about like immersion and representation, but not perfection. Got a little bit of a wispy there. Cobweb. So I think we're pretty much good here. I have a couple little extra pieces here we can just add something with real quick. Let's see. I don't know what I want to do. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make another one of these little multi-part 3D panels to add some decor. And then we're going to get some rivets on here. So people are like, oh, metal plating. Because that's what rivets mean. And we're going to put this centered down here on the bottom, I think. I want these to simulate like there's some kind of plating, like a reinforcement plating of some sort, I think. It's good to have a little bit of a story to go with your terrain as to why it is the way it is, I suppose. Half the time I just throw stuff together and I'm like, if they don't like it, they didn't make it. They are, too bad. But if somebody's like, oh, what are these? I can say, oh, I can either make up a lie on the spot and say they're this, or I can say, well, I actually thought about that. These are reinforcement platings for blaster fire. Are they? Nobody knows. So I don't like the way this looks right here. So I want to put something over that real quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of find something to roll it on. Here's a brush that's pretty good. I'm going to roll it around this brush that's about the size of that straw. And then I'm going to put just a dab of glue. Well, first we're going to size it up and see how big it is. It's enormous. I'm going to snip off a little bit of it. There we go. Nice. Throw that on there. And then what I'm doing is I'm squeezing it shut so it gets contact on the glue. Then I'm going to let it loosen up and hold it in place till it dries. Now it looks a little better. It looks like it's part of the design to an extent. That glue's coming up. It didn't dry enough. Give it a second. I might just toss a little bit on there. You guys know what I'm doing. I'm just squeezing a dab of glue out and smoothing it out a little bit with the tips. Not so it looks perfect, but just enough so I feel like it's not going to come apart on me. Alright, so this is everything that we're doing here besides our rivets. And look, we used a drinking straw. Isn't that fancy? You're probably like, oh my god, this dude loves drinking straws. They're okay. Let's clean up our mess before we do rivets so we don't lose rivets on the desk and can't find them. Don't need our square. That's a big piece. That's a decent piece. We'll save those. Yeah, I know, that's petty. That's probably no dollars worth of material there, but we're saving it. That little piece of card, we're saving it. Alright. So to do rivets, I've shown this before. All I'm going to do, this is like a generic thing I just use for whatever. It's a piece of foam core. And since this like coating isn't very absorbent, I can put like paint dabs on here and they won't dry, or glue dabs. And I will pretty much use this till there's no free spots left on it. I used to be very poor. And I mean like super poor. And I really worked hard to get out. My wife and I worked hard to get out from where we were being poor. To give our children better lives and stuff. But to this day, I am still like pretty weird about wasting and stuff. And I know that you're thinking like, oh dude, that's like no money, but that's really not the point. So I got my rivet. Start on the edges. I need a little more glue. Oh, that one's dry. Ah, hell. Alright, so start on the edge. No glue again. Alright. Oh, Chris, of course. Here we go. Alright, got a better bite with this knife this time. Get our glue. Get it on the edge. And that's how I center stuff, is like I said, I start on the edges. What is up with this knife? Got glue on it now, it's misbehaving. Now these rivets, if you didn't watch my other video about that I use these in, are from like these little like, I don't even know what they're called, man. They're just like gem paintings or something. I've never actually done one, but my wife likes them and my mom likes them, and I don't know, people like them. And they are flat on one side and round on the other, convex on the other. So we don't want to go overboard with the rivets. We want to use just enough that it's convincing or gives the look we're going for. Shoot. So we could probably throw a couple on this plate in the middle here. That'll look sharp. Sharper than this dull knife. This thing is terrible. It's way past its life expectancy for an X-Acto. I'll tell you that. My brother bought me this as part of like a set from. It wasn't even like a very like fancy set. It was just, you know, he was being nice and got me something I needed. And I've had these for easy 10 years, and some of these probably aren't even able to cut paper anymore unless you sawed through it. I don't think we really need any more. Maybe we'll do one somewhere else just to... Nah, I think we're good. Alright, so same thing as last time. I'm going to take this, I'm going to bomb it, and then I'm going to make a part 2 where we paint it in about 20 minutes. Thanks for watching.